When this sad dog was found wandering the streets, he didn't seem to like humans. He wasn't aggressive or mean. He was just a really sad dog that didn't want to become attached to anyone at the shelter he was taken to. That is, until one day he saw someone special standing in front of him. His reaction will leave you with all the good tears running down your face, so grab a tissue. This is a great story of love that remains and of never giving up hope. When this family in Tennessee got their pup, they loved him instantly. They called him Runt because he was the smallest in the litter, and they just knew that he would never have to fight for his food again, as many runts do. They planned on giving him everything they could. They lived on a farm, where he would have massive, wide spaces to roam. At first, they always kept him close, since a young dog still needs to learn boundaries, and they needed to keep him safe. Runt had a great life. As he got older, the family trusted that he knew where he was and wouldn't go farther than was safe. He was about 3 years old by then and had never attempted to leave the property. The family thought he was safe. It was a mistake, one they would pay too high a price for and one that would break their hearts for many years. One day, they called Runt in for dinner, but he didn't come. That was really strange because he never missed mealtime. Quickly, the family spread out and looked for him, but he was nowhere on the property. They searched every nook and cranny, but he had disappeared. He must have wandered off the property and now could be lost. They looked for him for days, but as days became weeks and weeks became months and later years, they lost hope and didn't believe they would ever see their sweet pup again. Somehow, Runt had ended up 10 miles or 16 kilometers away and started living on the streets in a neighborhood surrounded by businesses. Kind strangers got used to seeing the dog around and kept him fed. While he lived there, he always gratefully took the food, but wouldn't allow anyone to show him love in any other way. He was a loner, never aggressive, but not encouraging familiarity either. Everyone in the area knew him, and he didn't cause trouble, so they let him be and made sure he always had water and food. Then the pandemic hit. People weren't going to their businesses and instead were working from home. No one was around to feed Runt or take care of him. Many of the kind people who had cared for him for more than 2 years by then were worried about him. The city got a few requests to go find and care for him, and that's what they did. Runt was found and taken to the Washington County Johnson City Animal Shelter. At the shelter, he was named Roscoe, and he was given a warm bed to sleep in, plenty of food and water, and even the occasional snack. He ate these politely, but when the nice people at the shelter tried to bond with him, he retreated back into his shell. Many stray dogs are scared when first coming to a shelter and need time to adapt to their new surroundings and the people who just want to love them. Many have only known pain and might be scared of humans. But with the dog they now called Roscoe, this didn't seem to be the case. He was never scared of them. He would take treats politely out of their hands without grabbing, but he just showed no emotions. He had no interest in making friends with any of them. Tammy Davis, the shelter's director, said it was like he didn't want to be comforted by them or touched at all. No matter what they did, he had no real excitement about any of it. They tried to play with him, gave him toys and treats, but he never showed any emotions. His tail never wagged, and he had no joy in life. He was just there. According to Tammy, he was timid and reserved. It was like he had no personality and wasn't acting like a dog at all. After 6 months at the shelter, things hadn't changed. He was just as standoffish as he had been on the first day they brought him there. He still wanted nothing to do with them, and it was clear that, despite their best efforts, they were never going to reach him. But at the same time, he wasn't showing any aggression or behavioral issues that would make him unadoptable. Just because he wasn't very cuddly didn't mean he didn't deserve a good home. But would anyone be willing to take in a dog that might never become their best friend? They didn't know, but they had to give him a chance. The shelter was using its social media pages more than ever to bring awareness to available dogs, as people couldn't just pop in for a visit during COVID. They decided to create a post about Roscoe too. They didn't oversell him. They didn't want him returned because people weren't getting the dog they expected. so they decided to be almost brutally honest. They wanted him to be comfortable and find a forever home where he could have the space he needed to live his life without the expectation of being cuddly. They explained that they had had him in the shelter for 6 months, but he hadn't formed any attachments to the people there and didn't want to. They went on to say that he would take treats politely but would then move away quickly. The post also explained that the shelter believed he had spent most of his life as a stray and ended with a warning. He wouldn't be the dog to choose if he wanted a cuddle buddy. They hit post and started the wait. They really wanted to find Roscoe a good home where he could be happy, even if happiness was an emotion he didn't seem familiar with, somewhere he could be comfortable and relaxed. Everyone felt bad for the big dog with the sad brown eyes, and they would have given anything to see him happy. But they would never have guessed the massive impact their social media post would have on the rest of Roscoe's life. The post got a few hits from people asking about Roscoe, but one stood out above all. Tammy was shocked when she read a message from someone who had seen the shelter's post. The person stated they believed Roscoe was their dog Runt, who had been missing for 3 years. At first, Tammy was very skeptical. They estimated Roscoe was around 6 years old. If he was lost for 3 years, that was half his life. How could this person know for sure that this was their dog? Was it just someone clinging to hope? Would they be disappointed when they realized Roscoe was not their missing dog? Runt's dad sent Tammy a bunch of photos showing unique markings on his fur. When she compared them to Roscoe's, they looked extremely similar. It was really possible that Roscoe and Runt were the same dog. But even if he was, would it make a difference? This wasn't a happy dog. He might not recognize or care that his owners had found him. Tammy set up a time for the man to come meet Roscoe to see if the reunion would go as hoped. The man came in, and you won't believe what happened next. They opened Roscoe's kennel, and he looked up at the man. It took a few seconds, but when the dog finally realized who was standing in front of him, he completely transformed. His tail was wagging, he was smiling, and he even shed tears. This wasn't the same dog the shelter personnel had known. He was showing all his emotions and clearly remembered his family. He had just been waiting all that time to be reunited with them. Now, he could once again be a happy dog, and they would make sure he never wandered away again. What a great story about not giving up hope. Thank you for watching this video. Join us again for more stories that inspire.